Hey guys, up back with another video. This time we're gonna do a review of WWE Royal Rumble 2005. Let's get on with it, shall we? As you can see on the cover, we got a bunch of Raw and SmackDown superstars dressed up in funny attires. I don't know how to explain it, so let's get on with it, shall we? The pay-per-view started with a quick video package. I was actually very surprised. Because I'm so used to these like 5 minute opening video packages, showing you giving you a rundown, like basically like a movie trailer, like a special thing. So I thought, oh, well, I've got plenty of time till the pay-per-view starts. I'll do some press-ups, like not to show off or anything. I went to do some press-ups while the pay-per-view opening video package was happening, and literally as I was on like number 20, the video package was like ending at like 1 minute. I was like, holy crap! Like the pyro's already going off. Like, what the hell? So anyway, that's a funny story. Anyway, let's get on. Let's get on with the actual pay-per-view instead of me telling you about my press-ups. Anyway, we kicked off the show with Shawn Michaels taking on I was going to say the Rated R Superstar, but this is before his Rated R Superstar days. We have Edge versus Shawn Michaels in the opener. Both these men are in the Royal Rumble match itself later on, so double duty for these men. This was in a transitional period for Edge, where he went from the white meat babyface, the breakout from Edge and Christian in 2001 to now. He was in the transitional period of going from babyface Edge to despicable, evil heel Edge with Lita eventually later in the year. But this was like the transitional period. He hadn't won Money in the Bank just yet, and he had a great opener match with Shawn Michaels here. He had a fantastic opener. Yeah, what more can I say? It was a good opener, a good start to the Royal Rumble. I think they saved a little bit of energy for the Rumble, so pretty cool stuff. And Edge played the heel just right, stealing the victory at the end on Shawn Michaels by hooking the tights. Pretty good start to the Royal Rumble. Pretty good start. Then we had Eddie Guerrero and Ric Flair drawing their Royal Rumble numbers. Some funny stuff right here where Ric Flair got number 30 in the Royal Rumble and Eddie Guerrero got number 1. And Eddie went to give Ric Flair a hug, like, yeah, we'll see you in the Rumble maybe. And then Ric Flair's celebrating the Royal Rumble, and Teddy Longo's like, you better check your number there, player. And Ric Flair checks his number. He's like, that time, Guerrero, where is he? And Eddie Guerrero basically stole Ric Flair's number, basically. So more on that later. Anyway, back to the before we get to the next match, Heidenreich is in a dark room, and he's basically like saying how much he hates caskets. And Snitsky comes up to him, and they basically have a weird interaction where Snitsky says, "I love your poetry," and Heidenreich says, "I like you too, Snitsky." And Snitsky has a plan, so more on that in the next match. So speaking of the next match, we have Heidenreich versus the Undertaker in a casket match, and boy howdy, this sucked. Didn't like this match. Went on way too long for my liking. They liked to throw. At this point in Undertaker's career, they liked to throw a lot of big guys at the Undertaker, like Heidenreich, Luther Reigns. They like to throw these young studs. I like to think of it as swimming with the sharks, so to speak, to see if they had something, like, put them in there with a veteran like Undertaker to see if they had something. And unfortunately, most of the matches sucked. Most of the matches did, anyway. This was no exception. I didn't like this match. The only part I did like, I kind of popped for, was when Snitsky came out and helped Heidenreich, and then they opened the casket and Kane was in there, and Kane and Snitsky had a feud going from their unfortunate their storyline with Kane and Lita and the baby and all that stuff. So, and it wasn't his fault and Snitsky. So yeah. Anyway, that's a story for another time. Yeah, so apart from Kane and Snitsky's appearance in this match, this match was kind of thingy. Heidenreich tried his best with the whole scared of caskets thing. That was pretty funny. But for the most part, it was the usual casket bollocks where I'm going to put you in a casket. Oh, no, you're not. Oh, near fall. And then Undertaker eventually got him in the casket and wins the match. And I was glad when it was over and we could move on. We can move on. So, speaking of moving on, we have the next iteration of the Eddie Guerrero Ric Flair storyline with basically Teddy Long makes Eddie Guerrero give Ric Flair his Royal Rumble number back, and he gives him his Royal Rumble number back, and then Teddy Long's like, "Come on, Eddie, let's do, come on, give it back," and Eddie's like, "Oh, darn it." And he gives Ric Flair his wallet back too, so fun stuff. And then of course, Triple H tells Batista and Evolution to go like, okay, we need to focus on we need to focus on strategy for the Randy Orton match. And Batista's like, I'm going to get my Royal Rumble number, I'll be right back. So a little bit of friction in Evolution. Ric Flair has to separate them a little bit and teasing, tickling the bollocks, tickling the balls, so to speak, when it comes to the Triple H Batista storyline going into 2005. So that was pretty interesting stuff. Anyway, next match we have JBL defending the WWE Championship against the Big Show and Kurt Angle. This was a fun mess, as I called it. It was a no disqualification triple threat match. So we had JBL's crew getting involved with Orlando Jordan, the Bashams. We had Kurt Angle's goons getting involved in Luther Reigns and Mark Jindrak, and poor Big Show was on his own. So yeah, it was a fun mess for the WWE Championship, and JBL stole one right at the end by basically after being put through the barricade and almost unconscious, Orlando Jordan, while Big Show was preoccupied with Jindrak and Reigns, Luther Reigns that is, not Roman Reigns. When I said Reigns, I got distracted. I got confused for a moment. Orlando Jordan pulled JBL in the ring, and basically JBL's like out of instinct hit the clothesline from Hell on Kurt Angle and got the pin. So JBL stole one, and it was pretty cool. I liked the match, but it was like, as I said, it was a fun mess. It was a mess, but it was a fun mess, if that makes any sense. So I enjoyed it. Pretty fun stuff. But more on that later with JBL. Anyway, Batista is backstage getting his number, and he gets told, Eric Bischoff is having an argument with Teddy Long, basically having a dick measuring contest. That's a very bad image right there. But Eric Bischoff and Teddy Long are having a dick measuring contest, and they're arguing over the interference in the triple threat match. So he's like, you know what? In the next match, in the World Heavyweight Championship match, Evolution is banned from ringside. And Batista's like, okay, I'll give Triple H the news. So fun stuff right there. Anyway, straight to this next match. We have Triple H versus Randy Orton for the World Heavyweight Championship. This is Raw's main event before the Royal Rumble. This was fine. I didn't really care too much. It was a long, drawn-out match for the most part. It was very weird atmosphere because Randy Orton was the babyface, but they were cheering for Triple H, so it was kind of like a weird dynamic going on right there. I don't think Randy Orton's babyface run really worked in 2004. Of course the girls liked him. Woo! Oh, look at Randy Orton's body! Anyway, but yeah, towards the end they did a concussion storyline where Randy Orton knocked himself loopy and that was his downfall. Kind of interesting because I don't remember that part of the story. I don't remember Randy Orton having a concussion in that storyline, so that was pretty unique, interesting to that. But I guess it was an escape, so it was a way to protect Randy Orton in defeat. So that was pretty fine. The ending was alright. Triple H retained, and it was the right way. It was the right move going forward, especially with the whole Evolution split tease. Plate spinning with Batista. So anyway, after that was pretty fine. After that, we had Nunzio backstage. He was celebrating the fact that he's going to be in the Royal Rumble. He's he's tossing his ball, his Royal Rumble ball in the air, and Kurt Angle catches it and basically threatens Nunzio's like, you want to do something about it? And basically steals Nunzio's number. What is it with people stealing people's Royal Rumble numbers? And like, I miss that kind of thing. I miss the whole Royal Rumble fiasco and people getting numbers and all that stuff. And it made it very interesting. Anyway, so Kurt Angle's in there, and then of course back to Teddy Long and Eric Bischoff, who continued their dick measuring contest. Teddy Long's putting over Bischoff for a great World Heavyweight Championship match without Evolution getting involved, and it gave Teddy Long an idea. JBL starts celebrating with beer and all that stuff. So, and Teddy Long makes the barbed wire steel cage match for No Way Out 2005, which I've already reviewed. So that was pretty fun to revisit. That announcement being made was like, it gave me very, very interesting flashbacks to a couple of weeks ago. Anyway, and then we have the Royal Rumble match. As I said before, and I'll probably say it again, Royal Rumbles are always very easy for me. I always find them very easy to watch. I don't have to sit. I don't sit there and I sit there and I just like, you know what I mean? Like, I find them very easy to watch. I feel like I don't have to put effort into it. It's like, oh yeah, here's Royal Rumble match. Oh, this guy, that was fun. Oh, that was this guy coming in. Oh yeah, this guy. Okay. I wrote down some bullet points which I thought was pretty cool. The chop fest of Daniel Puder from Hardcore Holly, Chris Benoit, and Eddie Guerrero at the start was pretty funny and pretty was pretty bad for poor Daniel Puder, but it was what it was. I think it was a punishment for the Kurt Angle incident, but when he was a tough enough contestant. So yeah, that was pretty fun. Also, a bullet point was the Kurt Angle and Shawn Michaels confrontation in the Royal Rumble, where Shawn eliminates him, and that leads to their WrestleMania. And Kurt Angle comes back in and eliminates Shawn, which leads to their WrestleMania 21 collision. That was pretty fun. That was a pretty cool way to start that. Paul London's elimination from the Royal Rumble from Gene Snitsky. The clothesline where he did like a shooting star press off the apron. That was sick. That was horrible, but also awesome at the same time. I like that. And then of course, what's the other one? Oh yeah, the Batista Cena being. As I almost dropped my notepad there, we had Cena and Batista being the final two. Somehow, I don't know how they managed it. They managed to botch. They did a botch where both of them end up going out at the same time, but they made it work. They somehow managed to do a perfect, both men hit the floor at the same time, but it was a botch. Like for years, I thought that was supposed to happen, but then I found out recently, or a couple of years ago, that it wasn't supposed to happen. It was a botch. I was like, wow, that was a really good botch. Anyway, speaking of botches, out comes Vince. Out comes me. Vince McMahon came out and he just thinking about it makes me laugh. He runs out. He's angry and pissed. He's like, and he runs into the ring and completely just falls immediately on his arse, tears both his quads, and just sits in the ring. And then the referees and everyone's got to figure out what to do with Cena and Batista as middle-aged and crazy Vince McMahon sits in the ring trying to win it on live television, tear both his quads. So they restart the match eventually with Batista and Cena. Batista wins, and all is right with the world, and it was a good Royal Rumble. Like, yeah, and yeah. Anyway, that was fun. It was a fun Royal Rumble match. The ending spot will never get old. I laughed my ass off when Vince came out and when the whole spot. I know I'm not supposed to laugh because he got hurt, but it's Vince. You know what I mean? Like, it's Vince McMahon. Like, he's just a comedy genius even when he's not supposed to. Anyway, My score for the Royal Rumble, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10 because I really enjoyed this event. I'm really glad Dan Harris, one of my friends on Facebook, gave me this suggestion. Sorry that it's been a while. It's been like 8 days or something since I last did my last review. My mood swings have been very off lately, especially with the AEW All Out pay-per-view and all that stuff. So, anyway, enough about that. I enjoyed this event. Thanks again, and I'll see you guys in a bit.